Hello guys, welcome back and welcome to the first video of 2026. Today we will be talking about what I read in the year of 2025. So as you can see from my Goodreads, I read 16 books. My goal was 20 books, but we didn't reach that. But that's because of school. I read 5,307 pages. My longest book was actually, we'll get into that. My average book length was 331 pages, and my average rating for the year was like roughly 4.2. I am really excited for this video because I feel like overall I had a pretty good reading year. I didn't really have any bad reads this year, which, bless, I hope it's the same in 2026. Okay, my first read of the year, I actually don't have a physical copy, but it was Don't Waste Your Life by John Piper, and it was such a good book. I thought I rated it like 4.5, but like on Goodreads, it says I rated it 5 stars, so I don't know if I just like don't remember or if it's just because you can't do half stars on Goodreads, which I feel like we should be able to, but that's another topic. It was so good. I genuinely think that a lot of people, especially if you are Christian, you should read it once in your life, just because it really was a good perspective on what actually am I spending my time on and how am I using the life that I have. You know what I mean? I feel like we chase a lot of things. Actually, I want to read you a quote. I don't know if this is a direct quote or like a paraphrase, but I added it to my quote wall, which is right there, my quote board, and it's "Do not work for the food that perishes." And I feel like we chase a lot of things that are ultimately going to disappear. Like, for example, you know, money is eventually going to disappear. This new beauty product is eventually gonna like disappear, and everything is just so temporary. But the things that are not is the impact that you have on other people's lives, the connections that you make, and you know, also the way you impact people like spiritually, because spiritually, like after, if you're like a Christian, you believe that there's more to life than just this life on earth. And so learning to live for that life too as well is so important. And yeah, honestly, it was a great read. Okay, these next reads, I'm just gonna like put them all together because they're in the same series. So I read, the next 3 books that I read were these ones, and then I read this later on in the year. And honestly, I'm loving the Shatter Me series so far. It's really fun, it's really good. There are like moments in which I was like, oh, I wish I read this when I was younger because I feel like I would enjoy it a lot more, but I still think it's enjoyable. And I already, going into the series, I already knew all of the lore and I already knew everything that happened, which for some people it's like, okay, what's the point of reading it? The point of reading it is because I wanted to feel all of that stuff. I wanted the experience of it. So yeah, this, okay, like this genuinely is what made me like Warner. Like I can't believe some people don't read like this novella, because I'm like, I would not have been rooting for Warner if I didn't read this, because I loved his perspective. Unravel Me, very, very good. Ignite Me, so good. This was a 5-star read for me. I love it so much. It was, yeah. This book, however, I rated it 3 stars and it really like hurt me. It was like more like 3.5. But yeah, I don't know, it just, there was moments in which it was very evident that the characters were teenagers, and that's fine. Like, they're supposed to be teenagers, it's supposed to be realistic, but I felt as if some of the character development that happened here kind of just backtracked in here, and we kind of went back to who the characters were before. And I don't know, there's just a lot of things in which I'm like, it's very teenage behavior, like we need to grow up. But this was fantastic, and I heard the next one in the series is like everyone's favorite, which is Defy Me, I think. So yeah. Okay, the next book is low-key like controversial. Also, I do not know where my regular physical copy went, so I had to pull this like ancient artifact copy out of the depths of my mom's library because I don't know. We had a regular like copy. I don't know what I did with it. Low-key my fault. But this book, okay, I have heard a lot of people don't like this book, and it really just, it makes me sad because a character has never been more misunderstood than Holden. And I will say that. And I read a lot of books with a lot of misunderstood characters. And if you don't like this book, or if you don't like Holden, the main character, I think it's because you probably never had to go through grief at a young age. And if you have, you resonate with Holden's character in such a different way. Because this whole entire book, I was just like, this kid is in pain. He's grieving, and I get it. And this was a classic that I really loved. I think I rated it 4.5 stars. On Goodreads, it might even have been 5. It was just so good. And the audiobook, if you want to read, I don't think I would have liked it as much if I didn't like listen to it on the audiobook and if I just had read it, because I think, when you're reading it, he could just sound super like not a good guy, a little perverted at times. But when you hear it, it's literally just his inner monologue, and it's like you're listening to a friend's podcast or audio message, and there's just so much brokenness in it. And the fact that he just views the world as phony and fake, and everything is just shallow to him, and that's just shows just how much like grief can make you feel as if everything in the world just doesn't care or doesn't matter. Innocence was so important to him, and it was something he tried so hard to protect, and that's because, his younger brother, Ali, was just an innocent little kid who ended up passing away. It's literally just him trying to gain somewhat of, like, control or somewhat of a care, like, while dealing with grief. I don't know. It is just, I love this book, and you can say what you will about it, but personally, I loved it. The next two books, actually, I don't have a physical copy of, but it was The 5 People You Meet in Heaven and Why We Love the Church. Okay, The 5 People We Meet in Heaven, I rated it 4 stars, and everyone told me it was going to be like a 5-star read, and I heard from everyone that it was so, so good, and I had a lot of, like, expectations for it, and I guess it just didn't really meet my expectations as much. Some of the lessons, it was just like, I feel like we could have done more with this idea, had deeper lessons or meanings. No hate, I literally love, like, the author, but it didn't really hit for me, and maybe it's because I did listen to it on audiobook. Maybe I would have liked it if it was a physical copy, but yeah, I still think it's a really good book. I rated it 4 stars. I still think everyone should read it, and it's a short book, short audiobook too, and it did have really good lessons. The next one was Why We Love the Church, and I think I rated this 4 stars, and it was really good, and I really liked it because I love books that kind of just test your thinking a little bit and challenge you, and I had recently been having a lot of questions in regards to church and church trauma and church suffering and all of these different things. And I think the values that I got from this book, Why We Love the Church, and the input that I got from it I think it was really good and really growthful, and kind of just encaptured what community actually is and what it actually isn't. And it also exemplified what the church is supposed to be, even though it does fall short a lot of the time. Again, if you're a Christian, I definitely recommend that book. It was so, so good. Honestly, a lot of the books I'm going to be talking about in this video, I probably could make into its own video, and these are just very shortened, like, little snippets of, like, this, because, like, I could make full videos about some of these books, and Why We Love the Church is definitely one of them. Guys, the next book is probably one of the best books of 2025, one of the best books ever in my lifetime, possibly. And that is Tuesdays with Morrie. I've talked about it before on this channel, but I will talk about it a little bit again. It's about a guy, and he reunites with his favorite college professor, and every Tuesday they just sit and talk about life and relationships and career and work and just the things that matter. And I think it is a great reminder to everyone on, again, what really matters in this life. Career and success, how are those measured? And honestly, at the end of the day, it's your relationships with other people and the love that you embody that really matters. I wish I could read you a quote from this, but to be honest, like, every word that is said in this book should be highlighted and annotated. I need to reread this because I listened to it first on audiobook, and I remember listening to the audiobook being like, I wish I had the physical copy because I just want to underline and highlight every single word that comes out of Morrie's mouth because it is so good, and I definitely am due for a reread. But yeah, so now that I have the physical copy, I need to reread and annotate it and force all of my friends to read it. Okay, so the first half of like the year, we started off pretty strong with good reads, and we were reading a lot in the first half of the year. Then we got to Fearless. This book ripped my heart and soul out of my body, and in great ways and awful ways. And this was also like Tuesdays with More. It was a 6-star read, but for a completely different reason. But I have talked about this book so much on social media, just in general. Like, everybody knows I love this book. But this one personally was my favorite of the series just because I loved the love and like the dynamic between the two main characters, Peyton and Kai. I got to see the way that their love had developed and grew, and it was just amazing to see. And the emotions that I felt throughout this book were just, I was not okay. I feel like I can't express into words how I felt about this book. I will say though, I know Lauren poured her heart and soul into this book, and it's so obvious. And I love that. And I love that I was able to feel that. But I personally don't really have enough or good enough words to describe how I felt when reading the book. So what did I show you what I made my friend? I documented my Fearless reading progress in a document, and it ended up just being a collage of me crying and also like giggling and laughing. Like, literally I would be crying and the next photo would be me laughing. Mind you, there's like literally there's literally 4 tabs of this because I split it up into like sections of the book. Like, I split the book up into like quarters, and then these are like my genuine reactions while reading that quarter of the book. It's literally just a collage of me crying and occasionally laughing and smiling and being happy. But yeah. And then after I read Fearless, I tried reading other books, but it was like a weird like situation. I wasn't necessarily in a reading slump because I was reading, but I just couldn't get invested into any book until my friend forced me to read Fourth Wing, and it solved the issue. Fourth Wing was a really fun read for me. I loved the world building in it, and I had been wanting to read it for the longest time. I just hadn't, and my friend finally forced me to, and I'm really glad that she did, but I'm also upset that she did because I still have yet to read Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, and so I can't even like talk about it as much or watch edits because I don't want to be spoiled, and I miss them. Like, I want to read Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, but again, they're like these are like, I dropped this book on my head one time, or my friend dropped Onyx Storm on her face like one time while she was reading, and she said that it really hurt, and then I did that with Fourth Wing. It low-key hurt. Also, the text is really small, but I know in Onyx Storm it's thicker and the text is even smaller, and there's like non-existent margins. Anyways, I think this book was a 4.5-star read, if not a 5-star. I think it was a 4.5 star read for me. It was, the world building got me really excited. The whole, like, everything with, like, dragons and the codex, and, like, it was just so fun, so magical. I also partially listened to, like, the beginning on the graphic audiobook, and it was really, really good. Definitely recommend. There were some questionable parts in which I'm like, I don't think they would have sounded like that or said it like that, but it was still overall very enjoyable to listen to and read. The ending did break me. This is like kind of like not really a spoiler. You can skip it if you want. Probably just skip to like 15 seconds or something. But a lot of people know the quote, "It's been my honor." And I unfortunately was spoiled like who said that. It made me, oh guys, One thing about me is I will always be careful of spoilers in videos and on TikToks because I got spoiled for Fearless and Fourth Wing in the comment section of a TikTok that wasn't about either of them. Anyways, but the person who said that quote was literally, I was telling my friend the whole entire time, I was like, this better not be correct because that is my favorite character. Rebecca Yarros literally said that this person was too good. That's why the ending had to happen. That was my last read before I started college, and then we lacked in reading progress after college started. But the first book, luckily, was Killer Instinct, and I feel like I read this still pretty fast. This is the most bingeable series ever. Like, me and my best friend are both very slow readers, but we were able to read this book pretty fast. We literally could not put it down. So if you don't know what The Naturals is about, it's by the author Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She also wrote The Inheritance Games. Great series too, by the way. Definitely recommend. But The Naturals is about a group of 5 teenagers who are recruited by the FBI, and they each have like a special like gift or talent, and they use that to help solve cases for the FBI. And if you like Criminal Minds, read this series. And this series is so addicting. All the characters are so good. I love the little found family and the way they solve it too. It's so fun. Honestly, just overall great book. I like rated it 4 stars, I think, but like, you know, it was great. I have no complaints about this book. The next book I read, I also read pretty quick. I think I read it in a weekend, and that was Fearful. Fearful messed me up. Because tell me why I had more questions after Fearful, which is the last book in the Powerless series, than I did after reading Fearless. Like, I have a million questions now, and I don't know what to do. I don't know when I'm going to get answers. I don't know how I'm going to get answers. I'm really excited to get answers, but this book just had me panicking a little bit afterwards because I was like, what is going on? But I guess that makes me just excited for future works of Lauren, I guess. So after Fearful, I read The Midnight Library. And okay, so this book, I made a video on my main TikTok account being how like I want to do everything. I want to learn every language, like do every career, meet every person, see every artwork, hear every song, all of these things. I wanted to do everything, and it was so overwhelming, and I asked, is this my sign to read Midnight Library? And everyone said it was. And so I did read it. I wasn't planning to read it, but I did read it, and it was really good. It took me a long time to read it, not because it wasn't good or it was slow or anything, just because of like school, but the overall message at the end was really good, and I liked how she included the Sylvia Plath like poa or like analogy about the fig tree. It's basically where there's so many options that you have that you end up choosing nothing. And I feel like this just encouraged me to be like, to really remember and realize that you are in charge of your decisions each day. And I feel like it has impacted me, and I do sometimes think back to this book. So definitely recommend. I think I rated it 4 stars. And now we're at my final 2 reads of the year, which was like possibly like this might be the best series that I read this year. Possibly some of the best books that I read this year. Like, I want to say the best book I read this year, but I also remember I read Fearless and Tuesdays with Morrie this year. But I also feel like those just like, they're just very different that they can't compare. But these books, guys, are this series. These are the only books to exist, actually. Oh my gosh, what a way to end the year. We ended the year with a freaking banger. Okay, so I started Dance with Thieves. I was really excited, but it's a thick book, so I knew it was going to take me a little while. But okay, I read the first 100 pages over the course of like a couple weeks because again, school. It's not that it wasn't bad because I was hooked from freaking chapter 2. I was hooked. I was attached to the characters already. I wanted to know more. I just wanted to know the whole entire story, and I wanted everyone to like tell me their backstory, and I was really excited. I was very hooked. The world building was amazing from the beginning, and I was just very excited. But because of school, I read the first 100 pages over a span of weeks. And then the last like 400 pages, I read in like a bit over a day. I went on a road trip and I read in the car for 10 hours straight, this book. And it was amazing that I got to where I needed to be, read a little bit, and I woke up at 4 a.m., read until 9 or 10, and then got lunch, went to a cute little bookstore, and then finished it at like 2 p.m. I have never read this fast in my life. Again, this book and maybe Killer Instinct, I have never read so fast. Vow of Thieves, I literally read in a matter of like days. And again, I read super fast. Like when I tell you, I was reading like 100 pages within 2 hours, which personally for me is really fast. So if you don't know, it's about a girl who's a soldier and a guy who like he runs the city. He's like they call him the Padre, which it's kind of like a king, but a different type of leadership. And so it's about them too. And a lot happens. I can't really describe the plot, but just read it. Just read it. I loved it so much. I'm gonna make it into its own video. I do know that some like people found it really confusing, Dance of Thieves, or like really difficult to get into. I personally didn't. I don't know if it's just like I feel like I'm good picking up with like world building. And it's again with fantasy, you don't need to know all the answers right away. You just need to like you will get your answers eventually. You just need to kind of go with the flow, and I don't know, because like the answers will be given, like they're immersing you into the world. Obviously you're not going to understand everything all at once, and that's okay. Like as you get immersed, like you will start to understand. um but yeah, I loved the values that it embodied, and it just means a lot to me. Like this series has imprinted on my heart and my soul and has been tattooed in my brain. So yeah, that was my 2025 reading wrapped. That was meant to be like, it was meant to be like a chill and like calm video just talking about books. And I low-key just feel like I ranted because I got too excited about the books I was talking about. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are enjoying the new year and that this year is amazing for all you guys. Hoping for a great year filled with great reads. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.